From the far reaches of the Milky Way galaxy, it's Retro Nerd Girl with a film review for you. Today, I'll be reviewing the movie Love Guru, released in 2008, starring Mike Myers, Jessica Alba, Romany Malco, directed by Marco Schnabel. Genre: comedy, romance, sport. Rating: PG-13. The budget: $62 million estimated. And my rating is a 6.7. Guru Pitka, the love guru, must unite hockey player Darren Roanoke with his wife, Prudence, in order to prove that he is the next Deepak Chopra and get on the Oprah Winfrey Show. All the while, the guru is himself in need of love advice. Enjoyment. The response from this film was really bad to the point of utter mean-spiritedness, which I was a little curious about. Is it really that bad? In my opinion, it's flawed, but it's not horrible. I'm finding that a lot of these so-called horrible films are just films with big budgets that are just kind of okay, and people were disappointed in the big names behind them. First, I really didn't want to review this film because I felt I could be adding flames to the fire, if you will. As well as talk about the good, I have to talk about the bad as well. And after thinking about it for a while, I decided that this is exactly the kind of film I have to review. A film with a good heart that missed the mark. And maybe just a few people might actually find some valuable life lessons and teachings that were oddly found in this comedy. Pacing. At an hour and 24 minutes, it's short but it feels long. And there were a few timing issues that I'll talk about later in the review. The story. The story really begins from what I can ascertain from interviews and noble resources on the internet is that the love guru began as a discarded character from Mike Myers' Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, released in 1999. One of my favorite movies, by the way. Reportedly, the idea was revived again after Mike Myers sought the help of real-life self-help guru Deepak Chopra, and they became friends. The experience began to inspire the idea for the Love Guru movie. Rumors say that Mike tested the guru out on his stand-up shows and got the courage to move forward with the movie idea based on the audience responses. Mike co-produced and co-wrote the script with Graham Gordy, influenced by inspirations from Mike's real life. Mike Myers has been a long-time supporter of the Toronto Maple Leafs of the National Hockey League in Canada, which also, if you didn't know, Mike is from Canada. There's a scene where Guru Pitka and the owner of the Maple Leafs, Jane Bullard, are on a plane and she tells him that she turned to gurus when her dad died. This mirrors what actually happened to Mike Myers after his father died. To me, these connections were pretty endearing, however too short-lived, because the main plot point of the movie is the fact that it's a comedy, and a comedy by Mike Myers. He delivers the same humor he did from Wayne's World, Austin Powers, The Cat in the Hat. Dare we call them Myerisms. He breaks the fourth wall, constantly snickering into the camera. He does it in every comedy film he's in. It's his thing, and the guru is no different from any of his other characters, really. Along with that, there are endless pop culture references of the time. 9 to 5, released in 1980, The Wizard of Oz, 1939, The Electric Company TV series, which began in 1971, Into the Dragon, released in 1973, Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, released in 1977. Driving Miss Daisy, released in 1989. Law & Order, Special Victims Unit, released in 1999 as a TV series. Battlestar Galactica, released in 1978 as a TV series. And he even parodies one of his own movies, Wayne's World, which was released in 1992. A song playing on the radio station Pitka Changes in a car is playing Bohemian Rhapsody. There's also references to Star Trek. There's even a reference to Gandhi, which was released in 1982, where Ben Kingsley, the actor who played Gandhi, makes fun of his image. The challenge. The challenge in this film is the guru's desire to become the #1 guru in the world. This gets the guru in troubling situations, but there's no ultimate evil really to battle. The only villain you get in the film could be Jack Lecoq Grande, the rival of Darren Roanoke, and the guy who has become Prudence's new boyfriend. The big deal about him is that he's well endowed, which seems to demasculinize the other men in the film. You get the sense that he is actually not really in love with Prudence, and his main goal in life is just one-upping Darren. But even he's not totally bad. He's just a small obstacle and not really threatening at all. The other character that could be contrary to the protagonist is Darren's mother, who cannot let go of her son and seems to be the key to the real wedge between Prudence and Darren. Empathy. The Guru Pitka is a little off-putting because he is a parody of a guru, and gurus are pretty much well respected in our world, and not usually the subject of jokes because of the work that they're doing to help people. The guru is a fictional character full of whimsy and a jovial demeanor. He kind of reminds me of Mr. Magoo, where we have someone who you're not sure knows what he's doing but always succeeds. He's doing what he's doing to be accepted by society. He feels that he will reach his goal when he overthrows Deepak Chopra as the top guru in the world. He is selfish and ambitious. He's human. I think that the part that really loses my empathy is the fact that there are so many ridiculous scenarios with him, including this love story brewing between the love guru and the owner of the Maple Leafs hockey team, and the convolution of the fact that he has to wear a chastity belt until he learns to love himself. My question is, why on earth would she find the guru attractive? She might find Mike Myers attractive, but I just don't see how she could find the guru physically attractive. It could be another thing if she's attracted to his soul, but he's not attractive in that respect either because he's not a self-practicing guru. He's greedy, immature, and vain, and always looks at hawking his books in simple conversations. He doesn't actually do anything that warrants her to fall in love with him. Their attraction doesn't make any sense at all. The film is every bit as much about Darren Roanoke, who is explained to be the Tiger Woods of hockey. There is a rumor that Darren was named after the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs, a professional ice hockey team in Roanoke, Virginia. Darren left his wife Prudence because he was insecure, but then realized that he made a big mistake. That all makes a whole lot of sense, and it will surely take a lot of work to get her back. However, Darren has the burden of settling his personal problems with his mother and winning the big game, so you do root for him as a character. The technical aspects. There really is no information on the production of this film, but you can really see the effort that was placed to make many of the surreal gags and images. The special effects are pretty cool for the gags, but they weren't going for realism. And from that you get some pretty bold, colorful visuals, and it sets the tone for this kind of fantasy world. The sets and backgrounds are fun and elaborate. It kind of reminds me of the old grand musicals of the 1940s, when no expense was too great to show the grandeur of the scenes. The soundtrack is filled with lots of pop culture songs, and 2 of them performed by Mike Myers himself. The performances were really good. Mike Myers is doing his very best in the film. He's notorious for being a perfectionist, and he seems to love doing characters that he can disappear into physically. Justin Timberlake was really a lot of fun in the film, playing Lecoq. He's so dedicated to that character that it's very entertaining to me. I couldn't stop laughing when he was on screen, actually. Another standout in the film was Romany Malco. He pretty much stands out in every film he does, and you see that he's really doing his best to make this kind of ridiculous premise real for his character. And there were a couple times where he makes his scenes really seem realistic. Vern Troyer joins Mike Myers for a 3rd time on the film. When he's given the chance to really act, he's good. Stephen Colbert got really my biggest laugh. He was incredible. Hilarious stuff between him and Jim Gaffigan. Actually, we could have just had a movie about those 2 guys, and that would have been hilarious. The best part of the film for me was when Roanoke had a really sweet heart-to-heart with the guru, telling him why he wanted to reunite with Prudence. It was such a very nice moment. Another part for me that I consider the best attributes of the film came in the form of the guru's acronyms and sayings. Some of them were really immature, but there were a couple of them that were really good. My favorite is the intimacy means into me I see saying. It's a concept that if you can look into your own thoughts, you discover yourself. The true intimacy that humans are always seeking in other people can never be fulfilled until one looks within. This is deep and meaningful. I think there is so much other stuff happening in the film that many people either miss that message or are too distracted by the superfluous antics to care. The ending was okay, but it was a little too quick for me. It just wrapped everything up pretty fast, just in time for that big show tune ending. My wish list. Okay, I really feel as if this film could have been Austin Powers 4, The Love Guru, where Austin goes undercover as the love guru to save the world from a maniacal sports fanatic. I think that could have really worked that way because there are a lot of the same jokes that we could have seen in an Austin Powers movie. Now suddenly the prosthetic nose and the accent makes sense because Austin is trying to disguise himself. Also, in this fantasy world of the Love Guru really makes more sense in an Austin Powers film because the audience knows that the world is a parody of a fictional spy world full of shenanigans. And another route that they could have gone was the serious route, to make the story more realistic with situational comedy provided by the plucky and eccentric love guru Pitka, playing a secondary character with intrinsic wisdom to guide Darren, who would be the lead focus of the film. And the film really needed to strike an emotional chord with the audience, and I think Darren would have been the best way to go. Also, there was one joke that kind of fell flat, and I think it would have been really well received if it were done differently. And that is the Mariska Hargitay joke. The Guru Pitka says Mariska Hargitay as a salutation during the entire movie. Nearly at the beginning of the film, the actress Mariska Hargitay appears, closing the joke, and then when we hear the greeting later, it just doesn't have the same potency. And I really wish that she appeared near the end of the film so the audience could really feel as if they earned the joke and it came full circle. In summary, the film was a huge flop at the box office and it was critically panned universally. But in my honest opinion, I really actually liked it. It's not the worst film I've ever seen. It just doesn't even come close to the worst film. It's still a coherent story, and to me most of the jokes are kind of what I would expect from Mike Myers, and I think it's an okay film capitalizing on the Mike Myers comedy styling, of the poop jokes and the general jokes and the celebrity cameos and the musical numbers, the fourth wall winks and product placement. It's all in his other movies, and he was rewarded for that in the past. So what's wrong now? What's so different about his performance now? And maybe it's because of the subject matter. When it comes to spiritual enlightenment, some people just don't find it funny. They don't want to compare it with immature humor because it's pretty serious and it's well respected. So, and I feel also too that the audiences changed. They were expecting something different from Mike Myers, maybe the next evolution in his comedy. And you know what, just to be straight out, I wasn't crazy about all of the jokes, but there were a few really good ones. And ultimately, I liked the film more than most people did for the hidden, deeper significance I found. Well guys, that sums up my review. I hope you liked it. This is Retro Nerd Girl signing off. Take care, movie lovers, and off to my next review.